At Madwa, Panuwa Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Gabar, read everything.
On the verses. She'll tell you about it. No, the English. He must read the English version of the Bible. The Bible, it'll tell you.
Blessing of the Sabbath. Barakatha Yahweh, Basham, Yahweh, Asherai, Natamanawa, Hashabak, Mashalawam, the water, Aman. Blessed be Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it. The Alima Asherai Machad, Psalms 121. Anya Harayam Mayin Yad Oh Harim Mayan Yabawa Zarya Yabawa Mayawa Shashat Shemayim Waratza La Ginathan Lamawat Ragalia Yela Yanawam Shashwa Marka Hana La Ginawam Wala Yeshan Shashwamar Yeshrele Yahweh Shemarie Yahweh Tazalia Ayo Ya Yim Yawamam Hashemash La Hakaya Wayarak La Balayele Yahweh Yashamaria Makal Rai Yashamar Napashe Yahweh Yashamar Habalakya Wabawa Aye My Fa I will Basham Yahusha for what Amen.
Read the book.
I'll tell him it's okay. So now read Psalms 121. Well, he's right, but issue. Try and get it while we do the prayers. Makes it quick.
The Psalms 121. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore.
Say amen.
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 Shema Yasharala, hear O Israel. Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Get it first. Get it first, then we do prayers. Stop. I got it. Wow. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad.
Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou.
Say amen.
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 Papala Yahweh, the Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6, verses 9 to 13. Get it first. Get me the prayers. That way, once the prayers are finished, you can just read it. Stop. Thank you for helping me. Just one person's help.
Okay. I'm trying to get it in my head again.
6 and 9.
Right.
Abiyanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayye, Shanke, Yahweh, Malakwatke, Taba'e, Ratazawanke, Hayye, Aisha, Baratize, Keba Shemayim, Tanlanawa, Lacham, Yawam, Zay, Wasalak Lanawa, Kabawat Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawat Yanawa, Wala Abiyar Nawa, Oh, Nasayawan, Abo, Hawashai Nawa, Murray, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa'ale, Wathaparat, Waiwalam, Aman. Getting the flow of it now.
13.
9 to 13.
9 to 13. All right, Matthew chapter 6, 9 to 13. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Amen. Aishara Matazawav, the Ten Commandments. That's going to be Exodus chapter 20, verse 3. Each one you read it. Exodus 23. You're going to stop at verse 17. Stop. One person. Thank you. La'ad, Yahayat, Lakad, Alahayim, Akharim, Alpanyat, La'ad, Taishad, Lakad, Haso, Wala'ad, Taibadam, La'ad, Talakwaka, Shamweb, Yahweh, Alahayaka, Lashawat, Zakar, Ath, Hayawam, Hashabat, Lakodashwat, Kabad, Abiyakad, Wa Amakad, La'at, Taratazak, La'at, Tana'at, La'at, Taganat, La'at, Tainat, Shakur, La'at, Tachamat, Ko, Asherat, Lara'ika, Amen. Exodus 20 and verse 3.
Exodus 20 and verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
All 10 commandments.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy maidservant, nor thy maidservant, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
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 Shabbat, be seated.
Pretty good. Oh, yeah. You got a while, man. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Barakateh Hawa by Shemi Hawashai, Asharana from the Nile, Paria Gapan, Thawada Aman. La Yahweh by Shemi Hawashai, Af Yashar. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it. To Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, with Israel. I'm Magua, Panuay Roslam, stand face Jerusalem. Barakatah Yahweh, Haggadah, Rakawam, Abiyah, Wanawa, Elyawan, Malak, Shal, Shamayim, Waratazah, Wakod, Dabarium, Kayayim, Wagam, Hamashiach, Mayahweh, Adawanawe, Ahabnawe, Hapalat, Yahweh Aitazah, Yahweh Shai, Zakarnawe, Yahweh, Baratazawan, Ainke, Yash'ale, Izarnawe, Bane, Wasap, Yash'ale, O, Nanawe, Yem Yen, Aita, Kayawamyam, Makudam, Babakushay, Shalak, Mike Ale, Watazwadak, Alahayim, La, Maganawa, Rab Arnawa, Washamab, Ilnawa, Bakur, Shalak, Haruka, Shal, Yahushai, Lanawa, Alamadnawa, Rabium, Kakamai, Tabawane, Wada I, Shal, the Barka, Basham, Yahushai, Fawade, and yet, why will Aman. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahweh Shai. Remember, Yahweh, favorably your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel, most high, we beg you, right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahweh Shai to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, always and forever, so be it. Repeat the Hebrew only. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherat, Natan Lanawa, Hatawarat. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us light to see. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherat, Natan Lanawa, Awar, Lara Awat. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the ram's horn to call the people. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherat, Natan Lanawa, Karan, Ha'ayod, La Korab, Ha'aim. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherat, Natan Lanawa, Hasheman, Zayat, Lamashak, Yasha'ala. Yeshua, be seated. All right, so Shalom Yasharella. All right, so Shalom everybody here in Philly. Shalom everybody watching us on live stream. Shalom everybody listening to us on teleconference. Welcome to Hayah Charlotte Kanas of the Congregation of Israel, where we teach that the so-called Black, Latin, and Native Americans are the 12 tribes of Israel. That we fall into a lower state, politically, economically, even religiously, as far as serving God, because we broke the laws of God found in the Bible given to us by Moses. And where do we come out of this lower state that we fall into? By turning back to these commandments we broke by following Jesus Christ. As our example, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. So we know that the law came by Moses, and grace and truth came through our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who Moses wrote of himself. That he would be that prophet who will hearken unto once he came, as he did about 2,000 years ago. So, today is the Sabbath, and Friday, sundown, and Saturday, sundown of this week. As regularly scheduled, we go through a Sabbath reading. Today we're going to be going into the Old Testament again, reading Numbers chapters 1 and 2. Again, Numbers chapter 1, chapter 2 are going to be our readings for today. My name is Nabiab. So the ball, I'll be doing the service. And for your records, you can just put in your notes. Today is the 28th of July, 2018. What day is it?
5/16.
And it's the 5th month?
Yes.
And the 16th day?
Yes.
Counting us to up. Rehearsing the righteous acts, even when it comes to telling the date. It's good that the brothers listening, because we've explained that on other past new moons. When you just keep track of the day the new moon comes in, just keep counting days.
You count the days?
Yeah. Just like you write your day on your paper in school, just write the Hebrew day. That's the easiest way to do it, just to get used to it. So first we're going to read Numbers chapter 1 by Bar Ra'ash, or in the Hebrew first. And it begins, you have a way at the bar, right? Okay, excellent. So it reads, Way at the bar, Yahweh al-Mashah, ba Madaba, Sayanya, or Sinai, ba Aho, Mawa'ai, ba Akal, La Khadash, ha Shanya, ba Shana, ha Shanya, La Taza'af, ma Arataza, Matazariam, La Amar. 2. Sha'awa, Af, Ra'ash, Kol, Aidath, Banya, Yasha'ala, La Ma Mashapak, Mashapakaf, Ma La Bayaf, Abafma, Ba Masapar, Shamwath, Kol, Zakar, La Galagolfia, so like Galagalathma. Interesting. Because it says in the English poles, but that's the Hebrew word for skull too. That's where you get Golgotha.
Is it Golgotha?
I guess that's the same word they use for to poll. You're doing like a poll or a census, so to speak. Interesting, right? Kind of verse 3. It says, Maban Aishariam Shana wa Ma'alha Kol Yataza'a Tazaba Ba Yasha'ala Tapakwatwa Afma or Thumb La Tazaba Afma Afha wa Aharan. 4. Wa Afkam Yahayawa Ayash La Mata Ayash Ra'ash La Bayath Abathyawa Hawa'a. 5. Wa Oha Shamwath. It's funny because in the Hebrew this book is called Shamwath because that's how it starts off, and these are the names. Shamwath means names. Numbers is what we call it in English, but in Hebrew you'll see Shamwath.
Are you reading from left to right?
Oh, you mean right to left?
Right to left?
Yeah. Ha Anashim Asherah Ya'aimadwa Afkam La Ra'aban Aliyah Tazawar Bun Shadya Awar. 6. Wa Shemaiwan Shalom Ya'ala Bun Tazawar Yash Tazawar Yeshadya. Give me brothers and the brothers may be alive now, but yeah, can we please put our phones on silent and mute? And I said it like 3 times already. Yeah, forgive me if I get any of the brothers' names wrong. If they be in here or if they be anywhere on the earth. My apologies. We're going through like a list of names, right? So it says in verse 7, La Yahawada Nakshawan Bun I'm a yana Amaya Nadab. Verse 8. Wa Yashashkar Nathan Salak Nathana Allah Ban Tazawa'ir. 9. La Zabawalan Aliyah Abba Ban Khalan. 10. La Bunya Yawasap La Aparayim Aliyah Aliyah Shemai Bun Aimya Hawad La Manasha Gamala or Gamolia Allah Bun Hadaha Tazawur 11 La Banyaman Abayadan Bun Gara'ain or Gara'anya 12 La Dun as a Akhaya Aizar Bun Aisha Salak I'm a Yashadya 13 La Ashar Paga Ya Salak Pagaya Pagaya Allah Bun Karan 14 Lagad Aliyasap Bun the Iwa Salak the Iwa Allah 15 La Napatholia Akhayarai Bun Ayanan 16 Oha Korea Aya Korea Kora wa do you have a Korea or Kora wa? Yeah, I have two also. All right. Ha'aida Nashiyaya Matawak Abawa Abawafma their fathers Ra'ashya Alafia Yasha Alaham 17 Waya Kwak Asha wa Aran Af Nashim Ha'oha Ashura Nakwa Nakwabal Ba Shamwa 18 Ba'afko Ha'aida Hakwaha Yowa Ba'akad La Kadash Shanya Wayatha Ladwa Io Mashapakma Labayath Abafma Ba Masapar Shamwath Maban Aisharyam Shana Wa Ma'ilha La Gala here it is again Galagalafma their poles 19 Ka'ashara Tazawa'a Yahawa Afmasha Wayapakwadma Ba Madabar Sayanya 20 Wayahayawa Banya Ra'aban Bakar Yasha'ala Tawala Yadafma La Mashapakafma Labayaf Abafma Ba Masapar Shamwath La Galagayafma Ko Sakar Maban Aisharyam Shana Wama Aila Ko Yataza'a Tazaba'a 21 Pakwat Yaham La Mata Ra'aban Shasha Wa Arabayim Alap Wa Khamash Mawa 22 Labanya Shemaiwan Tawala Dafma La Mashapakma La Bayath Abafma Pakwadyam La Mashapak Shamwa La Galagayaf Ma Ko Zakar, Mabun, Aisharium, Shana, Wama Ilha, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 23. Pakwadyaham Lamata, Shamaiwan, Tashaiha, Wakamashim, Alap, Wa Shamash, Ma'awath. 24. Labanya Gad, Tawaladafma, Lamashapach, Labayath, Abafma, Lamasapar, Shamwath, Mabun, Aisharium, Shana, Wa Ma'ilha Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 25. Paquadium La Mata, Gad, Chamasha, or Chamasha, Wa Arabayim, Alap, Wa Shush, Ma'awath, Wa Chamashim. 26. Labanya, Yahawada, Thawala Dafma, Mashapakma, La Bayak, Abathma, Ba Masapar, Shemath. Interesting, isn't it? Why there? It says Shemath, not Shemath. Shemath, Mabun, Aisharium, Shana, Wa Ma'ilha, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 27. Paquad Hum, rather Paquad Yahum, Mata Yahawada, Arbaiha wa Shabayim, Alap wa Shush, Ma'awa. 28. Labanya, Shushkar, Tawala, Tawaladaf, Ma, La Mashapak, La Mashapakaf, Ma, Labayath, Abathma, Ba Masapar, Shemath, Mabun, Shariam, Shana, Wa Ma'ilha, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 29. Quadyahum, Lamata, Yashashkar, Arbaiha, Wa Chamashim, Alap, Wa Arabai, Ma'awa. 30. Labanya, Zabawalan, Tawala Tha, Wala Ya, Salak, Thawala Yadaf, Ma, hardest time with that one. Tawala Yadaf, Ma, La Masha Pakaf, Ma, La Bayaf, Abathma, La Masapar, Shemath, Mabun, Aisharium, Shana, Wa Ma'ilha Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 31. Pakwadyahum, La Mata, Zabawalan, Shabaiha, Wa Kamashim, Alap, Wa Arabai, Ma'awa. 32. Labanya, Yawasap, Labanya, Aparayam, Tawala Daf, Ma, La Mashapak, Ma, La Bayath, Abathma, Ba Masapar, Shemath, Mabun, Aisharium, Shana, Wama Ayla, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 33. Pakwadyahum, La Mata, Aparayam, Arabayim, La Alap, Wa Chamash, Ma'awat. 34. Labanya, Manasha, Tawala Tha, Tawala Dafma. I keep seeing that word over and over. Looking at 6 generations. Yeah. Tawala Dafma, their generation. La Mashapakaf Ma La Bayath Abafma Bama Sapar. What happened? Yeah, because the ma at the end is there, possessive. Yeah, I brought that up during the holy day, but we didn't get to talk about it. But when we say thumb as opposed to ma at the end, since the ma is the pronoun. But Masapar, Shamwath, Maban, Aishariam, Shana, Wama Aila, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 35. Fakwadyaham, Lamata, Manasha, Shanyam, Wa Shalashyam, Alap, Wa Ma'afyam. 36. Labanya, Banyaman, Tawala, Alawadafma, Lamashapak, Ma, Labayath, Abafma, Bamasapar, Shemath, Waban, Asharyam, Shana, Wama Aila, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 37. Pakwadyaham, La Mata, Banyaman, Ka, Kamasha, Washalashim, Alap, Wa Arabai, Ma'awa. 38. Labanya Dan, Tawala Yat Salak, Tawala Yadaf Ma, La Mashapakaf Ma. I keep doing that wrong. It's not Ma, it's not Mashapak Ma, it's Mashapakaf Ma. La Bafya, Abafma, Bama Sapar, Shemath Maban, Aisharyam, Shana, Wama Aila, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 39. Pakwadyaham, Lamata, Dan, Shanyam, Washashyam, Alap, Washabai, Mawaf. 40. Labanya, Ashar, Tawala Yadaf Ma, La Masha Pakaf Ma, La Bayath, Abakma, Bamasapar, Shemath, Maban, Aisharyam Shana, Wama Aila Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 41. Pakwadyaham, La Mata Ashar, Achad, Wa Arbai, Yam, Alap, Akhamash, Mawa. 42. Banya, Napatholia, Tawala Yatham, Salak, Thawaliyat, Thawaliyadathma, La Mashapakaf, Ma, La Bayath, Abathma, Bamasapar, Shemath, Maban, Aisharyam, Shana, Wama Ilha, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba. 43. Pakwadyaham, Lamata, Napatholia, Shalasha, Waha, Wa Chamashim, Alap, Wa Arabai, Mawa. 144. Oha, Apakwadyam, Ashura, Pakwad, Masha, Wa Aharan, Wa Nashyaaya, Yasharala, Shanyam, Aishar, Ayash, Achad, La Bayath, Abathyawa, Wa Salakhayawa. 45. Wa Yahya, Yawa, Ko, Pakwawadya, Banya, Yasharala, La Bayath, Abathma, Maban, Sharyam, Shana, Wama Aila, Ko, Yataza'a, Tazaba, Yasharala. 46. Wa Yahyawa, Ko, Pakwadyam, Shash, Mawaf, Alap, Wa Shalashath, Alapyam, Wa Chamash, Mawaf, Wa Chamashim. 47. Wa haloya, or rather wa haloyam, lamata, abathma la'a, hathapakwadwa, ba thawakba, so ba thawakma. 48. Wa yadabar yahawa al masha la amar. 49. Ak af mata loya la'a, thapakwad, ba'af, ra'ashma la'a, tasha, ba thawak banya ya sha'ala. 50. Wa atha ha pakwad af ha loyam ayo mashakan ha aidaf wa ayo kol yawa wa ayo kol ashura lawa hama shawa af amashakan wa af kol yawa wa hum yashadaf hawa wa sabiyab wa mashakan yakhanwa. 51. Waba nasai amashakan yawariyad wa afwa ha haloyam wa ba khanaf ha mashakan wa kwa yakoyam wa afwa haloyam wa hazar ha korab yawamat. 52. Wakhanwa banya yasha'ala ayash ayo makanawa wa ayash ayo dagolwa la tazaba afma. 53. Wa haloyam khanwa sabayab la mashakan aidaf wa la'a yahya patazap ayo aidaf banya yasha'ala wa shamawa haloyam af mashamarat mashakan ha aidwaf. Testimony. 54. Wa aishwa banya yasha'ala kakol ashura tazoha yahawa af masha kan aishwa. All right, so
Hebrew.
26. So that was Numbers 26 in by Bari Ashwan. Now I'll read it in the English second.
Yeah, that was Hebrew.
Mhm. I can show you. I can show both you brothers during the break. A website that I wish I came across a lot sooner, where like Kanyao Kana was talking about earlier. It's interlinear, where you see English words and you see the Hebrew underneath. So it's helpful as you go through each word. You can see how they're broken up into different pieces, as far as like the subject, the verb, the pronouns, all that.
That's the book we need.
I'm gonna show you. It's called scriptureforall.org. You can get all the Old Testament chapters, and you'll have the King James English on the right side. Oftentimes with a lot of the Torahs and the Tanakhs, they had it's free.
Because they got old.
What I'm talking about now is it's free.
Old and New Testament in it.
Yeah, the New Testament's in Greek though, so that's another discussion. But at least on this website, the New Testament there is in Greek. But it's good to use when you're looking at the Old Testament. As far as different books, we can see the King James English on the right, and you can see the Hebrew on the left, with each section broken down. As far as, like I said, nouns, verbs, pronouns, possessive pronouns, etc., and so forth. Let's go to Numbers chapter 1. So in this book, what we're going to see is pretty much the arranging and the census of us when we were in the wilderness.
We killed
Oh no, we're not there yet. We have to organize first.
him. Isn't it in chapter 1?
But we are being organized to kill. Because as we're going to read, it's going to go into how we're going to be numbered, certain men of a certain age, where we can know, okay, how many men can go out to war if we have a conflict.
Right.
With, the nations that be round about us as we're in this wilderness. As we read on in the history of Numbers, we're going to see instances where we did come across different nations. Sometimes it was a peaceable situation, other times not. And then what happened because of that. So this is Numbers chapter 1 and verse 1. It says, "And the Lord, or in the Hebrew Yahweh, spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt."
Right.
So this is, we've been out of Egypt for about a year at this point. And it says that we're in the first day of the second month of that second year, right? A year and a month has gone by since we left. This is in verse 2. "Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families by the house of their fathers, with their numbers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls." Why? It says, "From 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies." Right? So this is the purpose of the counting at this point, is to see how many able-bodied young men in different tribes can actually fight. You see here that we had a requirement where it had be at least 20 years old to fight, right? You couldn't be younger than that.
What's the title of the class?
It's not a class, it's a Sabbath service.
I mean, on Sabbath service.
Numbers chapter 1 and chapter 2.
Okay, but they no title.
That's the
It's a Sabbath service.
That's the chapter.
Every Sabbath service is just go through certain chapters. That's it.
Okay.
Not like during the week where it's a different subject and sometimes more than one subject.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Sabbath.
Sabbath service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me read something.
Sure. What's the link with?
He said, verse 3, right?
For 20 years old? Okay.
Yeah. I have to read something quick. He said, Judges 8 and 20.
Judges 8 and 20.
Yes. "And he said unto Jether, his firstborn, up and slay them. But the youth drew not his sword, for he feared, because he was yet a youth."
He was scared.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't understand. And then he's not like 20 years and above.
See, he said he was scared. Is that why he was afraid?
He said, it says it because he was yet a youth. So he was,
Have respect.
no, he was young.
Well, he still had respect because he was young.
But it's here, 20 years.
Regardless, he was 20 and not. He had respect.
Okay. We'll find out.
I'm not sure if he's getting why you read that. I'm not sure if he's getting why you read that. Maybe you could explain to him.
He was under 20. He was young. He didn't like train to fight killers yet. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I can even see it too. Not so much even just being under 20, but I mean, being under 20, yes, but as far as the fear, and they look at that and say, well, the way it came out, it almost came out like, oh, because he's young, he's afraid, as opposed to because he feared the Lord and he knew that we weren't supposed to go out and fight until we were 20, he might have been afraid for that reason. You might have a young man who's under 20 who's like, yo, I'm ready to go. I got skills, I can handle myself at least to a certain extent, but
Right.
most sides said 20 and up.
And so he respected.
Could be that too.
No. God said he has to be a certain age.
Yeah, but he paid attention. That's right. I mean, he gave God respect. He disobeyed him.
So he was ready to go himself. But God said you have to be 21.
He didn't say that he said it.
God said it.
God said it.
Okay, God.
But he didn't. He paid attention to what God said.
Okay, he
He
wasn't
didn't,
listening.
he didn't go out and still try to do it. That's respect for God.
So
Here
you
we
get
go.
it mixed up, brother.
No, actually, now he sounds more on point, but with the last thing he said.
God said no, and he still wanted to go fight.
Did he say that? Didn't he?
Read that again, please, brother.
No, the last thing he said was actually on point.
God said
You
no,
can read
but
it
he
again.
wanted to go fight. God said no.
Did he say it?
God said it.
If God said no,
That means no. Ain't no more
right?
crap.
But listen, God said no, right?
Right.
So he obeyed his orders, right?
No, he's ready to go out and fight.
Is that what you read, y'all? Can I read that again in Judges?
Yeah, let him read it again, please. Like a woman say no mean no. Judges 8:20. I wrote it down.
Judges 8, verse 20. And he said unto Jether, his firstborn,
Right.
up and slay them. But the youth drew not his sword, for he feared, because he was yet a youth.
He told me to do
Yes,
it, but he said no.
because God said no.
In his mind, he said no because he was a youth.
Okay. All right.
He respected as a younger person.
Come on. Okay. Amen.
What
All
do
right,
you
so,
get out of that, yeah?
You said it right the last time, what I heard. I want to make sure you guys understood what each other was saying. I think you guys were confused about what the other was saying. It looks like you cleared it up. That's good. It sounds like you're saying the same thing.
All right,
I'm going to go with that.
I'll go with that.
So let's continue on with Numbers chapter 1. Let's read on in verse 4. I'm going to go back rather quickly because, like I said, a lot of it's just names and numbers.
See, this go back. Like 20 years old, what's the requirement?
21.
So the 20,
21.
and it was 20 and up. It was not just 20. It was 20 and up because they putting together an army.
Right.
So they recruiting, but the recruiting age starting 20 and up.
Right.
And it's not just any 20 and up, any 20 that have the ability,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Any 20 that have the ability.
Go ahead.
But they would do it based on how they organize the army.
Okay.
Just like you go, they interview you and they see if you physically fit to be in the army,
Right.
then they will recruit you. They don't just get any 20 years old and then put him in.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know, there's another law that backs up what he's saying, right?
Right.
You were reading other laws that says what? If a man is just married, a man is afraid, right? Other different situations like that, that he wouldn't be part of that army, even though he was 20. So you have to read them together, read them in tandem. But we'll come to that again as we read on. But the verse I'm referring to, you can just write it down as a link. As far as 20 years old and able. This is in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 20, from 5 down to 9. You don't have to read it, but you can just write it down.
What's that, Deuteronomy?
Deuteronomy chapter 20, verses 5 to 9. Just to back up what you were saying as far as, yeah, the requirement was 20, then there's also certain mental situational requirements you have to meet too. Like if you were just recently married, you just stay home because, you had to cheer up your wife, establish your household, things like that. If you yourself were afraid, is that fear is going to spread to your fellow soldiers, right? It could cause a break in the ranks.
The one in the able body willing to certain age, to go on.
What I'm saying with this is adding on to that.
Oh,
That's how the book of Numbers got its name.
Yeah.
Right, when they translated it. Because in the Hebrew, like we were saying earlier, the books of the first 5 books of Moses are just named after actually the first couple words of that book. I think in the Hebrew it's just called names because, oh, you know what? I got it mixed up. I said that earlier. Exodus is called names.
Exodus is called name.
Yeah. What's numbers called in the Hebrew, Kanya Kana? What does it say in the Tanakh? What's numbers called in the Hebrew in the Tanakh? The name of the book. You put your Tanakh away? But when you get it out, just let us know that word, because I'm sure it's going to be at the phrase in that first verse of chapter 1, verse 1. Deuteronomy 25-9, Judges 8 and 20.
This number is bar.
So
Bar.
so literally, and he said, because that's how it starts off, right? Chapter 1, verse 1. And he said, Yahweh unto Moses. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But anyway, let's continue. So verse 4 it says, and with you there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers. Now he's going to go into the princes or the chiefs of each of the tribes, right? It says in verse 5, and these are the names of the men that shall stand with you. What you see I was getting at earlier, right? Kanyalkana, as far as I was called white at the bar. And you see numbers 1 and 1 starts off the same way. Just like Genesis is called Barashith, which literally means in the beginning or in beginnings. That's how Genesis starts off, in the beginning.
That's the title for Genesis.
Barashith, yeah. That's what we were practicing, remember?
Barashith.
So Numbers chapter 1 and verse 5, and these are the names of the men that shall stand with you. Of the tribe of Reuben, Eliezer, the son of Shader. So we know Reuben is today being called so-called Seminoles, right? So-called Seminole Native Americans. Then it says, of Simeon, Shelumiel, the son of Zurishaddai, which Simeon we know today being called so-called Dominicans, right? Or let's just say Dominicans of Native American descent. Then it says 7 of Judah, Nashon, the son of Aminadab. Judah today, we know is the so-called Black Americans mainly, but we know Judah. But we know Judah was included it was also the name of the southern kingdom too, which included Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So while you have Judah mainly in North America, you have Judah spread out to in other places.
Nashon, son of Aminadab.
No, I'm saying that's who they are today.
That Judah.
Right, see back then, 12 tribes. Right. Then it says of Issachar, I think double E with the caret on top. Make sure I say this right. Keyed. Okay, there we go. So Issachar, Nathaniel, the son of Zuar. And we know Issachar today are so-called Mexicans, right? Or before they were known as the Aztecs. But you go back further than that, their name was the tribe of Issachar. That was their name of the tribe of Israel. It says, 9 of Zebulun, Eliab, the son of Helon. We know with the Zebulun, we know that they are the native Indians, so-called Native Americans that are found in Central America, predominantly, right? Or they were known as the Mayans. You go into the Mayan Empire and entailed them. If you look at our 12 tribe sign, we see it says that they would include all different countries that you see throughout Central America, between Guatemala going all the way down to Panama. Reading on, it says, and the children of Joseph, of Ephraim, Elishama, the son of Ammihud, of Manasseh, Gamaliel, son of Pedazar. So, the children of Joseph, you're reading the scriptures, tells you that the Most High will count Joseph as 2 tribes, right? Of his youngest son Ephraim, and then his eldest son Manasseh, right? Today, those tribes are today known as the so-called Puerto Ricans and the so-called Cubans, right? Ephraim being the native descendants of Native Americans that were found in the island of Puerto Rico, and then with Manasseh, the native Indians found on the island of Cuba. You see, they went by different names, like the Bohican Indians, as well as the Arawaks. They were the natives that were there on those islands. Just to show that Joseph was 2 tribes and how they break them down, you can just write down a link with verse 10. Joshua chapter 14 and verse 4. Once again, Joshua 14 and 4.
4. Take over verse 10.
Yeah. Which it reads, I'll read it real quick. Joshua 14 and 4, for the children of Joseph were 2 tribes,
Right.
Manasseh and Ephraim. Therefore they gave no part unto the Levites in the land, save cities to dwell in, with their suburbs, for their cattle, and for their substance. So this is going forward in time with Joshua. We see that they were separated out into 2 tribes.
Oh, Joseph, the tribe, two tribes.
Through each of his sons. Yeah.
Each son.
And it's funny when it mentions here too about the Levites not having an inheritance, because remember in Joshua, what you read about after we fought our wars, it goes into land allotments, property that was given to the different tribes, right, as we conquered the Canaanites. But we're going to see the Levites come up again as you read Numbers chapter 1, as far as where they will be situated at in the camp. Now, somewhat related. And we're going to see that detail outlined too as we go further on in Numbers and future Sabbath services. So back to Numbers 10. Let's read on in verse from the chapter 1, verse 10. Let's read on to verse 11. Numbers chapter 1, verse 11. Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gideoni. And Benjamin, we know those are descendants of slaves that were brought to the West Indies. So you got the brother representing back there. Okay. Right. So throughout the different West Indian islands, right? Like Jamaica, of course, like Trinidad and Tobago, for example, etc. and so forth. St. Vincent,
Like
and the Grenadines, islands like that.
Like Trinidad.
Trinidad too, yeah.
Okay.
Descendants of slaves that were brought there.
Those are the names of it now, or those are the names of it then?
That's what these tribes are we've always had our names. We've just forgotten them. But I'm saying this because this is what people call them today. We can make the connection. Because if you see someone from Trinidad walking down the street, right, they may have the flag on their shirt, or you may find out somehow, some way that they're from Trinidad. You say, hey, Benjamin. They're going to look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah. Good.
That's not my name. Right?
Right.
They don't know.
They don't know that's their real name, but they don't take it like that now.
Reading on, Verse 12. Of Dan, Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. So Dan, they're being called the Greeks because we don't know who Dan is today.
What did he call today?
We don't know who Dan is today. As I said, that's part of the things that we know in part and prophesy in part. Even though we know some brothers have made extensive lengths to try to show who Dan is, done some extensive research, but there's always just something there where it's like it's not enough to true it up and firm it up. So that's part of the humbling process, right? Where we seek after knowledge, which is good. Wisdom says, which excels knowledge, we say when to take a step back and go, certain things aren't needful to know, at least not right now.
Was Dan on the tribe, on 12 tribes?
He's part of 12 tribes, but we don't know who he is.
But they don't know who they are.
That's why we notice on the 12 tribe sign that you'll see in other camps, Dan isn't on the list.
Okay.
And in Revelation chapter 7, when it talks about 144,000, Dan's not listed. So even if we did find out how Dan is, we know when it comes to our goal as Israel waking up now,
Right.
wouldn't be to get the 14,000 out, the 12,000 out of Dan anyway.
Right.
So the Most High is going to have Dan taken care of however he does it.
When the time comes.
Because we know in future prophecy, it tells you, like visions that Ezekiel had, that Dan's going to have a gate in the city.
Okay.
So we know Dan's going to be taken care of. So that's one of those things we just leave in his hands.
Wanted to ask the Hebrew Israel.
Yeah, exactly. Was it even back in we were reading Genesis, right? Way back when. What does it say when it was talking about Dan's prophecy in Genesis 49? What did Jacob say? Oh, how I waited for thy salvation, oh Lord. It's like a weird verse after Dan, then it goes to the next tribe. So it's like, someone that you have to wait for what the Most High is going to do for them.
So Dan got to wait.
Just to link what I'm talking about, and we can continue. The first verse I mentioned was in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I think it's 8. Let me make sure.
This is 49. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel.
So he will become one of the tribe of Israel.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 13 and 9.
They will come from the tribe.
And then, come on, you're reading Genesis 49 and what? That's 11, right?
That's read Genesis 49 and 16.
Oh, 16 is left.
Yeah, it says, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. 17. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse heel, so that his rider shall fall backwards. I have waited for thy salvation.
Okay.
O Lord.
Yeah, that verse 18 is what I was talking about. So it's like,
So Dan wait.
yes, the Most High is going to take care of his salvation. Got to talk one at a time. Yeah, Most High is going to take care of his salvation, because we know he's going to be in the kingdom. So yeah, that's wisdom, right? To know when to say when, right? Sometimes brothers say, gotta find out.
Yeah.
Spirit has shown me this much. Maybe the Spirit will show me some more.
Right.
It may be. But at the same time, just acknowledge that, certainly we just won't know. Even when we read in Maccabees about the Ark of the Covenant,
Right.
where they buried it in Mount Nebo, and they tried to mark the way. It says that it was gone. And then I think Jeremiah, because he was with them, he took note of it and said, "Oh, don't worry about that. This will be something that the Most High wants to hide for a time, but then show us later." But you'll still have our brothers and the sisters in the truth try to seek this out. And of course, you have people in the world who try to seek this stuff out. But let's continue on in verse 13. It says, of Asher, Hagel, the son of Akron. We know Asher today are the so-called Native Indians, so-called Native Americans of South America,
South America.
right? But in a particular place, usually you will see them like kind of in the north and in the middle. From Colombia all the way to Uruguay, if you go from left to right. So like in the north and in the middle, that's where you find the tribe of Asher. And one ancient empire you read about that was in Peru, the Incas, they would be the tribe of Asher today, right? They would at one point the Incan Empire would be part of them.
What would be the nationality of that?
Like I said, there are all those countries that are in the North and in Central South America.
Okay.
So it includes like Colombia, like Venezuela, Brazil. I'm talking about the so-called Native Indians there, not the descendants of slaves that were brought there,
Okay.
but the Native Americans who were already down there
Yeah.
when the slave trade started.
So what would it be called? Native Americans? Native Americans?
Right, the Native South Americans
Okay.
that are in those regions. Because Esau conquered these, put his own lines, his own borders, and called them Colombians over here, called them Peruvians over here, called them Brazilians over there.
Okay.
But they're all considered Asher, as far as the Most High.
The Ashen Choir. Right.
Asher. That's their real name.
Okay.
All right, so then it says in 14, of Gad, Eliasap, the son of Duel. Of course, we know when it comes to Gad are the descendants of the so-called North American Indians, right? Or the Native Indians that you find like around here in the Northeast, in the central part of America, in the Great Plains, going all the way out to the West Coast. You do have some overlap between them as well as Issachar, because Issachar went up pretty high too, what we now call North America as well. And you have some Gad too that spread all the way up to what we call Canada today as well. That would be the tribe of Gad. That's why a lot of states and cities are named after Gad, or Gadite names, right? Whether it be like high schools or landmarks or even actual cities, right? Like Connecticut, like Illinois, like Massapequa, like, go down the list. A lot of different names of places are actually named after so-called Native Americans or the tribe of Gad. Just shouldn't be surprising because they were here first. Or here before, Esau got here anyway. I'll say it like that. So now reading on, it says in 15, of Naphtali, Ahira, the son of Enan. Now Naphtali, going back to South America, they're the Native Americans in South America that are what? On the west side and on the south, what we call the continent of South America, right? Asher more so dominates the northern and eastern part. The northeastern part of South America. But then Naphtali, they dominate the west and the southern part of South America, which is namely two countries, Argentina and Chile. Right? You might read about the Andes Mountains, like that mountain range down in the Andes. That would be a territory where Naphtali is, or a tribe of Naphtali. That's why even in the prophets in Deuteronomy, it tells them to what? Possess thou the west and the south. Right? So it's talking about Argentina in the west, and you go down further, you see Chile. So the prophecy even told you where they would be situated. Just like it told other tribes they'll be situated in the islands, like you find many tribes in the Caribbean. But it tells that Naphtali shall possess the west and the south. But for that verse, you can just link it with Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 33. since I mentioned it. Deuteronomy 33 and verse 23.
23?
Deuteronomy 33 and 23, where it says, of Naphtali, he said, "O Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full with the blessing of Yahweh, possess thou the west and the south." So everything happens on the Most High's watch. Many things that the prophets were shown, they saw it, they wrote it, but they didn't fully realize it because it didn't happen yet, right? Now we are those prophecies come to pass in the modern era.
Did it happen with them?
Because we're still to come.
Okay.
Certain prophecy. There are now so many more prophecies that come to pass, and there's still prophecies that haven't been fulfilled as of yet. But everything the Most High said would happen, it has happened on His time, but it's happened the same way He said it would. And that's where our faith should come in. Whereas with man who tries to predict things and understand things, he'll sometimes get things right, sometimes mess things up. Most High is always on point. Back to Numbers chapter 1, verse 16. These were the renown of the congregation, princes or chiefs of the tribes of their fathers, heads of thousands in Israel. And see a key man over each of the 12 tribes at this time, that generation when we were in the wilderness. Like I said, a year and a month removed from being in Egypt as slaves. So let's read on in Numbers chapter 1 and verse 17. Now we finish that section. And Moses and Aaron took these men, which are expressed by their names, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Right? So we see the emphasis here again on the house of their fathers, right? Because the seed, we know, bears the nationality or determines the nationality. No matter where you plant the seed, it will be wherever that type of plant is. And we always use the metaphor, right? When we display nationality as a milk topic, when we're out there teaching, we say, plant a seed, Paramount Park, plant it in, Bangkok, Thailand. You plant it in Iceland, right? It's going to be an orange tree, right? It gets the right sun and nutrients and water, right? It's always going to be an orange tree, no matter where you plant it at in the earth, right? That's how the Most High maintains nations, right?
Who tree?
Orange tree. I just use orange as an example. It could be anything. Doesn't matter. You're not going to plant an orange seed in Fairmount Park, but then plant an orange seed. I said an orange tree. Sorry.
I'm thinking about orange tree, like orange.
It's an orange seed.
Yeah.
So I plant that seed here across the world. It gets the right nutrients and sun and water. It's going to be an orange tree. That's how we explain the Most High organized nationalities and kept them together, even though we may go against the Most High's commandment as people and marry, do interracial marriages and things like that. The children will always be what the father is, even though it takes the woman in her womb to nourish the seed up before it even bear a child. So, both play a key role in making sure people can still exist. Otherwise, we just die off.
Yeah, like now they say all people are mixed.
Right.
You're mixed. I'm mixed with so many people.
Right. Yeah, I'm 1/4 this, I'm 1/8 that. It's like that means to say that your grandparents and great grandparents, they weren't mixed. Because each of your parents and great grandparents was half something, half something. You got to keep going back to as far back as you can. So it's ridiculous to say I'm 1/2, 1/4, because each of those folks you're talking about, that was one thing, they're two things. And their parents, each of their parents are two different things. And all their parents are two different things. You got to keep going.
Wait a minute, hold on.
You heard that? You heard that, brother?
Say it again.
Say it a little louder because we can't hear you,
No
brother.
such thing as a mixed person who are with your father.
Right. That doesn't mean that you can't take on the, as they say, phenotypes of your mother. You can look like your mother, no doubt, but you're still going to be nationality-wise what your father is. And then that's how the soul cycle is maintained, where the souls always come back within that particular family or that particular nation, whether it be a man or a woman. You go back and before, when you were here before in your pre-generation, to a certain extent, you're always going to be whatever your tribe was. And you might have been somebody before them, but God knows that. Going back before you had the nation of Israel, you might have been spirit of a patriarch that came before Israel. Who knows? But we know as far as now, in more recent times, in the last couple millennia, in your pre-generation, you came from a family of your particular tribe. Everybody understands that, right?
Oh.
Know what we're talking about? There's some distraction going on. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing what's coming out. We all know Numbers 1 and 18 is a key verse we use to teach that milk topic of nationality, right? This is a verse you can use to show that your nationality is determined by the seed of your forefather, like Yakazakala said.
Oh, okay. Numbers 1:18. All right, I got that.
You can link with Numbers 1 and 18 before we read on. Link it with Ezra.
Go get that. Ezra 9 and 10.
I want to link Ezra 2 and 59 with this. So Ezra chapter 2, verse 59.
2 and 59.
Mm-hmm. And then also you can link Nehemiah chapter 7.
Oh, Nehemiah. I'm just looking at the little thing you got back here. It has it on it. A little picture. Nehemiah, just chapter 7.
In verse 61.
Wow,
I was thinking that verse too, Kanyal, and then we were texting earlier this week. As far as you were asking a question about the bastards, thought about these two verses too, because like you can pretty much see they were trying to keep that because they wanted to make sure when they got Israel together, they couldn't determine who they were. It was like, you can't let them come into the congregation. We can't account for them being Israel or not.
I thought about that. No, because this is like it says about fasted for another nation.
Mm-hmm.
Another nation. So when the Mosai is speaking here, talking about he's referring to Israel, I was kind of focusing on said, he's dealing with Israel. So when he says that, what does that mean?
We got to account for the person's nationality, where they come from. Like they say, who's your daddy? Who's your father, right? So we don't want to make sure that a heathen's coming into the congregation, And if they are, there's a certain place that they go to, which is the outer court. And so in Numbers 1 and 19, it says, as the Lord commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. 20, the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. It's like you were saying, all that were able to go forth to war. So it's implying that there's other attributes that go into beyond the 20 years old, but you need to be war ready, but you had to at least have that requirement as far as age. Verse 21, those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Reuben, were 46,500. Verse 22, of the children of Simeon by their generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, those that were numbered of them, according to the number of the names, by their polls, every man from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Simeon, were 59,300. 24. Of the tribe of Gad, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Gad, were 45,650. Verse 26. Of the children of Judah, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Judah, were 314,600. We all know what a score is, right?
Yeah.
How long is a score? Anybody?
20.
Right. So 3 score would be what? That's right. Arithmetic. So reading on, it says, of the children of Issachar, by the generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Issachar, were 54,400. Verse 30. Of the children of Zebulun, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Zebulun, were 57,400. 32. Of the children of Joseph, namely, of the children of Ephraim, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Ephraim, were 40,500. So when you see tribe of Joseph, when it's referred to that generally, you'll typically see in scripture, it'll narrow it down. Or if you see them in a group, all the different tribes, you'll see one that'll say Joseph, and you might see like Ephraim, or you might see Manasseh. But the key is to know the difference, where you know one is mentioned, it's Joseph, and then you have the other tribe mentioned, you know, oh, okay, it says Joseph here, and this is Manasseh. So Joseph's talking about Ephraim. Or it may say Joseph, and then Ephraim, Joseph obviously is talking about Manasseh, right? If not one, then the other. So in this case, it's making it very clear that it's talking about Ephraim when it says Joseph. We're in verse 34.
34.
That's why it says of the children of Manasseh by the generations. Because before it said Joseph, we know Manasseh still comes from Joseph, but it's just speaking about Manasseh specifically. So it always clarify one from the other. It says that the children of Manasseh by the generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Manasseh, were 32,200. Just an example of what I mean. We jump to Numbers 13. Numbers 13. You'll see the opposite. You can just write down Numbers 13 in verse 11. You can link Numbers 13:11 with Numbers 1 and 32.
Rewind that again. Say that again, bro.
Numbers chapter 13 in verse 11. Link that with Numbers 1 and 32.
Okay.
So Numbers 13 in verse 11, it says, of the tribe of Joseph, namely of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadai, the son of Susai. So here in Numbers 13:11, it tells you so Numbers 13:11, it says of the tribe of Joseph, namely of the tribe of Manasseh, right? Let you know it says Joseph, and it narrows down to Manasseh. Just like in Numbers 1:32, children of Joseph, namely of the children of Ephraim. So it always specifies if you're not sure. That's the point. So back to Numbers chapter 1. Let's read on in verse
134.
36 now. The Numbers chapter 1 in verse 36. It says, of the children of Benjamin by the generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Benjamin, were 30 and 5,400. 38. Of the children of Dan by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Dan, were threescore and 2,700. Verse 40. Of the children of Asher by the generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Asher, were 40 and 1,500.
5,000.
42. Of the children of Naphtali, throughout the generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names, 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Naphtali, were 50 and 3,400.
Right.
So I think that's all of them. It says in 44. These are those that were numbered, which Moses and Aaron numbered, and the princes or chiefs of Israel, being 12 men, each one was for the house of his fathers. 12 men for 12 tribes. Wait a minute now. Joseph is 2 tribes, but we're missing somebody.
Joseph had 2 tribes.
Oh, Shalom, someone on teleconference?
Yeah, Salakia Navia. Asha Shabbat Kahan Israel. Suav Live here. Navia, for verse 18, what did you have?
Ezra chapter 2
Uh-huh.
and 59.
Okay.
And Nehemiah, oh, one more. Nehemiah chapter 7 and verse 61.
I just wanted to make sure it was correct, Navia.
No problem.
The water.
In the book. So, in those 2 verses the brother asked for, those are going into determining nationality based on seed of the forefather, like we discussed earlier. So, verse 45. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Even all they that were numbered were 600,000 and 3,550. Right? So, you know, we're pretty deep, a little bit, you know. But now, like it tells you in Deuteronomy later on, it says, you know, we're the fewest in number compared to all nations. Right? So even this compared to other nations, even at that time, was like still small. But we weren't just, you know, minuscule. We actually were, you know, we had a nice size. And the Most High in his infinite wisdom, he decided, okay, after this time in Egypt, the 430 years, I'm going to take them out and make them a nation nigh unto me and build them up, right? So they can become independent, sovereign, know what that means, not just be a vassal for someone else.
So now, when you look at the proportion compared to back then, today, we have millions, billions of people, right?
Right.
Now, look how far we've drifted
Away.
from the scriptures. Can we find, even if we take an example here, it's about, 4, 5, 6 of us here, right?
Right.
Now, I know the truth.
Right.
What about the billions of Israelites out there?
They don't
We
know.
really messed up, man.
Yeah, we messed up. Really messed up.
They found 603,550 around that time. Be fruitful and multiply just got started. Right now, look at the world today. It's populated with a lot of Israelites in all the tribes throughout the 4 corners of the earth.
Right.
Find Israelite, find a room full of Israelites.
They are Israelites.
Go to Pathat. Just try to raise your hand before you, because he had his hand raised. Y'all
So, all is able to go to war, not counting women and children.
Come. Exactly. Pathat, what was your comment?
I forgot.
Okay. Just to try to raise your hand when you want to bring something up.
And I got a scripture on the 12 people that was over there. Exodus 18.
What should we link this with?
Also linked with the one that says the 12.
Oh, got it.
Go up over there.
44.
Right. 18 and 21.
Mhm. You just quoting it?
I could read it.
It's up to you.
All right, Exodus 18 and 21 says, Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear the Most High, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And they, you read verse 22, and let them judge the people at all seasons. This should be the characteristics of the people that they choose over Israel. But the other people that they chose that amount to 603,550, they were supposed to have the ability to learn warfare,
Right. For teaching.
right, and
The
then
whole
follow the
12 tribes.
commandments
Yeah.
of the Most High
Right.
under those men who are men of the Most High.
Right.
Kind of, so Numbers chapter 1 and verse 47. That's what I was saying. Here we got 12 named, right? And we got 2 from Joseph.
Right.
But now, Jacob only had 12 sons.
Right.
Joseph had 2 sons who became tribes. But now we're missing 1, which is Levi.
Oh.
Because you look up all the 12 sons of Jacob, right?
Right.
Which is what? Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. And Joseph, you got 2. Ephraim, Manasseh, that's 13. 13 tribes.
Instead of 12.
Right.
Because Joseph had 2 tribes.
Levi can't fight.
We're going to find out what the role Levi plays, though, right? Because Mosai doesn't just have anybody here for nothing, right? He's got everybody accounted for. It says in 47, but the Levites, after the tribe of their fathers, were not numbered among them. For Yahweh had spoken unto Moses, saying, Only thou shalt not number the tribe of Levi, neither take the sum of them among the children of Israel, but thou shalt appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of testimony, and over all the vessels thereof, and over all the things that belong to it. They shall bear the tabernacle, and all the vessels thereof, and they shall minister unto it, and shall encamp round about the tabernacle. And when the tabernacle setteth forward, the Levites shall take it down. When the tabernacle is to be pitched, the Levites shall set it up, and a stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. Right? So Levi had a very important task, right? Within the midst of the camp, where they were entrusted with the care of the tabernacle, which we read throughout Exodus, right? All the different things that would make it itself, all the things that would go inside of it, right? Moses gave the specific instructions, right? As far as the altar of incense, the altar of burnt offering, candlestick, right? The tabernacle itself, what types of fabrics they use, how long it's supposed to be, the beams you're supposed to use to hold it up, right? Even the sockets, right? What minerals to use for the socket, whether it's brass sockets, silver sockets, gold sockets, right? All those details, right? So Levi was entrusted to keep care of those things. Remember, we were a nation on the move, like a mobile nation, right? So like, picture going camping, just your family, right? You set up base camp, right? You find a certain key place, hopefully by water, right? And then when it's time to move, break the camp down, pack it up, and you get moving again, right? Where you pack it up in the car, or you gotta put it on a beast of burden in ancient time, right? Even modern times too, depending where you're at in the world. We did this as a nation, and that tribe had that responsibility because it was like a makeshift temple where anywhere we went in the wilderness, we could set it up and then worship our God. Right? Exactly. And as we read on in Numbers, it's going to go into specific families and the roles that they had, because every Levite didn't have the same responsibility. And this is embodied by their name in the Hebrew, loyal, which means joined. As we see here, and as we continue to read, they had a special role amongst the tribes of Israel, as they were joined unto the Lord. When we gave our tenth unto the Most High, we gave it to the tribe of Levi, as if we were giving it to the Most High. And that tenth that all Israel gave for an inheritance to Levi, to the Most High, that would go to Levi's nourishment, because the Most High had them set out specifically as a tribe for that service.
Right. So they went out for battle. They went out for battle.
Right.
Yeah, that's a special task that the Most High gave them.
Exactly.
Levi.
Exactly. And notice what it says at the end of verse 51. It says, "And the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death." We talk about, stranger. That's relative. Depends on the context. We know even here, we know it's definitely talking about the heathen. It's even talking about other Israelites, because certain tribes of Israel were strange to the things of Levi. We had no business even dealing with that.
Okay.
Right? Let's get an example of that real quick before we move on. Brothers may know the example I'm going to pull real quick. Link this with 1 in verse 51. Who's that? 2 sons. What sons are you talking about? Where it says, "The stranger that cometh nigh unto the tabernacle and the things of it shall be put to death." Verse 51 at the end.
Some of the strangers that was burning the incense, the sons of, who was the son of Levi, the 2 guys that went in, they burned strange incense, and God killed them right there. That's what you're talking about.
Well, that's not so much talking about this. That's not what this is. No, that's not what I'm getting at here.
They weren't strangers. They was the sons of them. They burned strange incense.
Right, they were doing something strange for the Lord, which was outside of the Most High's law.
Okay. That's why they got punished for it.
But in 51, it's talking about stranger of our people based on the past that Levi was stranger to that act that you supposed to come and do it, then you should be killed even if you are Israel.
Right, because you weren't supposed to be there at all.
Right.
That was clear, right?
That was cool.
So what I was saying is, the stranger is not just talking about the heathen. It's talking about any Israel that's not part of Levi, and even within that family of Levi, because all Levi couldn't do, but certain other Levites could do.
Right.
Say like the sons of Aaron. Some things are just for them. Other Levites had no business messing with stuff just for sons of Aaron.
Right. Anyway, if you break your rules, you pay the consequences.
That's it.
That's how you sum it up.
I mean, that's the Bible, man. That's this whole thing. This whole thing is obedience, man. Every hardship we can think of from then till now, it all goes back to obedience, man. Us want to do things our way and where it got us. So yeah. So who remembers that famous story where this wasn't adhered to, and it was Most High corrected it right away? And you could say to brother, in his mind, he could say to himself, "Oh, he was helping," or it was just a reflex. I was trying to help. But Most High is like, yeah, there we go. The breach of what?
Touch the Ark of the Covenant, you died immediately.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. So let me I'll just get that verse real quick and then we'll continue on. So this is in 2 Samuel. Second Samuel chapter 6. You read from 6 all the way down to about verse 11. Get that history. And even the place where it happened, they named the place after the incident. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 6, it says, let's go on when David and his army took on the Philistines, right?
Right.
One of our most dreaded enemies amongst the heathen, right? We used to go back and forth with the Philistines constantly, right? So he got the advantage and then got the ark back from them to bring it back to Israel. So it was a grand occasion, right? Us getting our ark back from the heathen. It says in 2 Samuel 6:6, and when they came to Nachon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand, the ark of God, and took hold of it, for the ox shook it, or for the oxen shook it. So it was being carried, it was being buried by oxen, and Levites with the oxen. But it says that it shook the ark, and you see something fall, the reflex will say, oh, gotta grab it right before it falls down, whatever it may be. But now we couldn't just deal with any old thing, especially when it came to the Ark of the Covenant. He did this, and let's see what happened. Verse 7. And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error. There he died by the ark of God. It says, and David was displeased because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzzah, and he called the name of that other place Perez Uzzah unto this day, which just means breach of Uzzah. That's what Perez in the Hebrew comes from.
So he went against the rules.
Mm-hmm. It says in verse 9, yeah, Most High's not playing, right?
Yeah, I mean, why do you think you can be a sneak from the Most High?
It's almost like,
You know what I mean?
it's almost like you were set up by the Lord.
See if you want to go that way. Huh?
I'm gonna make this animal shake the ox so I can kill him. Does that sound like that?
Continue. Explain what you mean.
All right. My Lord said, I think I'm gonna kill Uzzah. I'm gonna make the animal shake the ark like it's gonna fall. I know you Uzzah's reflex is gonna go after the ark when you know he ain't supposed to touch it.
Oh, okay.
I know he's gonna go after it.
But he wasn't supposed to touch it.
But when we seen about the fall, he went to pick it up, right? He went to try to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
When he grabbed it, that's when the Lord killed him.
Right. So you're saying the Most High wanted to kill Uzzah?
Yeah.
No, I think he wanted to. I think he was testing.
This is interesting. This is real interesting. I want to hear this. I want to hear where this goes.
You just have another word, don't you?
Well,
I mean,
I would say more so, the Most High's rule is the Most High's rule. Regardless of your intent to do something that you think is good, regardless, the Most High's rule stands. He's not going to admit what he said, that's what he said. Even though you're trying to catch it, right? You see something in the reflex, you're trying to catch it. That's the Most High says nobody else should touch it.
right.
He's not wishy-washy and about, oh
Mhm.
man, he's trying to do something. No, that's what I said. That's my rule. I'm not going back.
Oh, okay. I'm not going back on my word.
I can see the Most High saying, I'm gonna make an example of him.
Just to prove
Yeah,
that
make
I'm
an
not
example.
playing here, this is my rule and that's the way.
Oh, okay. But these are my rules.
Right, because whatever we read is for our example.
Okay.
Right, so we read it today, that's for our example. Right? When the
Okay.
Most High says something, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Okay. Right. Follow it up.
Good discussion.
that statement that I made earlier when he said, in Numbers earlier when we read what God said, no, me no. It's right there. Don't touch it, don't touch it.
All right. Okay. You go with that.
Okay now, I love you.
You go with that.
All right.
So before I read on, Kabar, for your comment, you can read this. Ezekiel 18:31 and 32.
I have it right here.
Oh, there you go.
I have it right here.
Ezekiel
That's
18, what?
that's the spirit.
I'm gonna have it right here.
Right, because his thought is he's not alone. A lot of folks may look at the Most High that way when he does certain things, like you said, based on what he says should not be. And if you want to look at the Most High and go, well, damn, Most High, why you gotta be so rough like that? It's like, dude, I told you what it is, man.
That's what it is.
I told you what it is.
And that's what it is. That's what it is.
I told you. It wasn't like I just blindsided you. You know the rules.
Right.
And when it comes to the affairs of men, when you don't adhere to rules and when you establish them, that's when people don't take you serious.
Yeah.
That's just human nature. That's child rearing, right?
I'll let you know.
So kind of spirit. And it even goes back to like the arguments people make about the flood. They go, "Oh my God, it's so horrible," you know.
Yeah.
But if you understood the soul, what makes the soul alive, and what the people were actually doing before the flood,
Mm-hmm.
the Most High was doing them a favor.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of folks don't look at it that way. Like he was preventing them from doing even worse in their flesh to give them even worse sentence. Like they were destroying themselves because they were just doing their own thing at that time.
Party.
Right. People look at that, and you know, the one they look at is, oh, why could the Most High kill him? But not realize, man, the people were killing themselves already because of all the profanity they were getting into. Say, you know, Noah. Folks look at it one way as opposed to the other way. They don't understand, you know, the value of the soul. But you can read Ezekiel chapter 18, 31 and 32. What people say in the world, oh yeah, you're a real Old Testament, huh? You're a real Old Testament kind of person, aren't you? You put it out there like that. But it's just like the Most High is always the Most High, you know?
Yeah.
We're under grace, but still, look at what he had his own son go through for our sake. We're not just here for nothing. Some blood had to be spilled.
Right.
And the most precious blood on the earth had to be spilled, his own son's blood.
Right.
So Most High don't change.
Right.
But,
You want me to read that?
yes. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry.
What?
Your face was like
Like you,
I thought it was hurting.
you know you hurt. You had to read.
I don't want to read
I
that.
didn't change my favorite. I was eating these
I got you.
cheese puffs. That's probably what you got.
Okay.
I have no problem with it.
You volunteered.
You would have thought I was putting you in an arm lock, man.
No, you misunderstood the expression on my face.
Perhaps I did.
So, football, you volunteered or did
I asked him, did I not?
you sure did?
Okay, Ezekiel 18, 31 and 32.
Those are funny.
Cast away from you all your transgressions, whereby ye have transgressed, and make you a new heart and a new spirit. For why will ye die, O house of Israel?
Right. So right there, Moses putting out there, giving us instruction to what? Cast away your transgression. Stop going against my word, right?
Right.
And it says, and make you a new heart and a new spirit. Remember we talk about the new covenant, which we're not under yet?
Right.
Right? Because we're in the New Testament, which is Christ's blood. But we're
Right.
still under the old covenant, which is what? The blessing and the curse if we keep the commandment or break the
Our
commandment.
ways, our different ways and stuff.
Right, but the new covenant is going to be what? The Most High writing the law on our inward parts.
Right.
Perfectly. But now before that, we're even told to do it ourselves. Write the law on your inward parts right now.
Right.
That's what this is saying.
Okay.
Right? So we know it's going to happen perfectly when Christ comes back. Exactly. But he's saying here, no, do it right now.
Do it now. Right.
That's why it says, for why will ye die, O house of Israel, right? Like, not me killing you, it's you killing you. Read verse 32.
To yourself.
Verse 32. For I have no pleasure in the death of him that dieth, save the Lord God. Wherefore, turn yourselves and live ye.
Right. I had no pleasure in the death of him that died, said the Lord God. Wherefore, turn yourselves and live ye. Choose to live.
Right.
And you were just talking about, I think, the other class night, right, Khan? About the choice, life and death, right?
Yeah, like I said.
So he's saying, choose ye to live. It's like the Most High is, you know, getting his rocks off, his jollies off by killing people. But that's the choice that you make,
Right.
to kill yourself. What more can he do? Just the way, so just on your question, the way it sounded, and I know that notion, people look at it as if like the Most High is out here hunting people. It's like it could be further from the truth. That's a very common thing. I hear it a lot. You know, this whole Most High is sadistic. You know, there's a murdering God. You know, that's why I don't deal with that Bible. Why I don't deal with you guys. You know, that's why I don't deal with that book. You know, everyone has a problem with this book. You know,
Yeah.
but they just don't understand the book. Oh, he had his hand up.
And what you just said is the premise of the first few chapters of Numbers. Always get impatient and always, run away and blame the Most High or whoever is teaching us the truth.
Right.
Right? about the Mosai when we faced with calamities.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So throughout for reading that, let me go back to 2 Samuel to finish that up. 2 Samuel chapter 6. I'll read verse 8 again and then read down to 11. So we just linked for folks that they just came in. Ezekiel 18, 31 and 32. It doesn't link with anything where we read in scripture, but just on the comment that was made. Just a good scripture to have, highlighted. When you deal with folks who have that misconception that the Most High is just a murdering guy, just wants to drown people, for fun. Like it's a sport to him, Like I made people just so I can kill them all types of ways.
Right.
That's not the Most High. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 8, it says, David was displeased because Yahweh had made a breach upon Uzzah, and he called the name of the place Perez Uzzah unto this day. And David was afraid of Yahweh that day and said, how shall the ark of Yahweh come to me? So David would not remove the ark of Yahweh unto him into the city of David. And David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite. And the ark of Yahweh continued in the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite, 3 months. And Yahweh blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. So the way that situation went down, he just said, you know what? let me just slow it down a little bit.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Right, because what he did, and just Most High, sometimes like the Most High, he's always there, but there's like certain situations, like kind of gets the Most High in the forefront of your mind. So David made a judgment call. He said, look, just put this over here for now, leave it be, because I don't want the Most High, destroying us. So we may mess up some other way. Let me just sit it here for now. But it's heavy because just that thing being in that man's house blessed that house. Just the fact that that object was in there. That Ark of the Covenant, just showing you how the Most High hallowed that thing. But it's not so much the Ark of the Covenant itself, it's what the Most High said the purpose that was supposed to serve. Remember, it all goes back to that obedience.
Can't break the rules.
Exactly.
So those guys probably Obed-Edom was the Levite then?
It says Gittite. I think that might have been the city he was from.
Right.
It doesn't say what nationality they were. But something
early on, didn't they say that the Levites were the only people that was put in charge of carrying that ark? Well, it didn't say that.
we didn't get there yet as far as the Ark of the Covenant specifically.
Oh.
But this here, it's not saying who Obed-Edom is. I thought that's what you were asking.
Now, I was assuming that he would be a Levite because it said that the Levites was in charge of that ark. All the
It doesn't say.
holy things.
But one thing you can gather is whoever he is, he's not touching it. Because think about it. Anytime people had it that shouldn't have had it, they didn't know better, bad things happen, right? Like the Philistines.
And I'm sure David, knowing the law, would get the proper people for the burial.
Right.
You don't have the details here, but knowing who he is, and that's why he was scared, and he knew the law, who's supposed to touch it.
Right. Not.
Right. Yeah. By implying, the scriptures, we should know that David, he knew better, that's what he would have done.
Right.
And he had to, because how else had they gotten on the ox anyway?
Right.
Exactly. So would have had somebody who was actually approved to pick it up. It was just Uzzah was close to it. I guess he was in proximity. So I guess hindsight 2020, a more wise thing would be like, look, when it comes to not only carrying it, but even the perimeter around it in case something happens, let it all be Levites who, if it does fall, they'll be the ones to grab it.
Right. Okay. That's my word.
But that's just based on what we read and just the information provided, because it could have happened a different way. But either way, just wanted to read that just to show Most High is serious when it comes to Levi having this task when it pertains to the tabernacle and all the things that are part of it.
Even though we don't know it, but we see what happened with Uzzah. Who knows his spirit? When they told him that, what was going on, man? God, they all come up with some stuff. Nothing gonna happen to me. He probably was carried that he was told about he was told about it, but in his spirit he probably didn't believe nothing can happen.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So
Right.
the Lord said, I'm
It's not the
making
Lord made an example out of him,
Right,
for his spirit, and for us too.
Well,
That's reading today.
right, okay, okay.
Watch this picture. Watch
Right. Remember when we use these examples, just
this.
right.
Watch him do this. I'm gonna shoot him down.
And remember when we go into these scenarios, just start off with I could see it being this. Just say it that way, so that someone who is new, or if they hear you say it, they'll say, "Yeah, this is what happened. Here's why." And so just be careful in the way you word it. Just always put that thing in front, because we can only speak on for certain what we see is written. That's why we always use words like alleged, or I could see it being this. I could see so and so feeling this way about the situation. But even though it's not written there, that's just you, kind of drawing from what you read and just making an assumption, which could be right, but maybe not. Just don't teach it as if it's law. That's all I'm saying. So Numbers chapter 1, 52. Yeah, 52. Numbers chapter 1, verse 52, it says, "And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, every man by his own camp, every man by his own standard throughout their hosts." Standard is just a flag. We don't know already. So they had different flags, I guess, for different tribes, right? I guess had some kind of insignia or something where you knew based on the color or the design what tribe it represented. I wonder, some archaeologists dug some of those up, right? That would be like, it says in 53, "But the Levites shall pitch round about the tabernacle of the testimony, that there be no wrath upon the congregation of the children of Israel, and the Levites shall keep charge of the tabernacle of testimony." Right? So we don't want to have that wrath, right? We don't want to have a Perez Uzzah, right? No breach.
Right, right.
It says, "And the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord or Yahweh commanded Moses, so did they." So we come to Numbers, first chapter.
They did what they supposed to have done.
Right. So we're going to take a half-hour break, reconvene most as well around 1:15, 1:20 at the latest. Feel free to get something to eat. Something doesn't require heat, obviously, since it's the Sabbath. And we'll see you then. So Shalom, see you for Numbers chapter 2 in a little bit.
Shalom.